Hi ladies and gentlemen, we want to talk to you about the game Solitaire, and I want to talk to you about this for two reasons. One, if you want to get better at handling the mouse, getting used to the mouse buttons and how things work, Solitaire is going to help you do that. Solitaire is a game, a card game, that will teach you some of the characteristics of using the mouse and give you the skills you need to practice. And my experience has been, if you know how to play Solitaire, well, what you can do is go and play the game, and when you first start playing it, I think you're going to find using the mouse awkward. But the great thing about the game of Solitaire and using Solitaire to enhance your skills is at first you'll be very conscious of what you're doing with the mouse. But as you get into the game and as you learn the game a little bit, you're going to find that you're going to get a little bit distracted by the game, so you're not really thinking of the mouse that much. And then all of a sudden, you're going to start concentrating on the game and realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm using the mouse without even really thinking about it. So the game of Solitaire is a great game to use to enhance your skills with the mouse. And some of the things we're going to show you today in this training is going to be utilizing the things you've learned in Solitaire. So the first thing I want to do is when we look at the desktop of the computer, you're going to see there's nothing here that says Solitaire. So we got to go find it. And when you think of Solitaire, what Solitaire is, it's a software program that has been designed for your computer. Software that you can start and use. There's all kinds of different software. Don't get too caught up in, again, what things are called. Just figure out how to use them. When we go to use Solitaire, we come down here to the Start button. Remember the Start button? I had told you that in order to shut off the computer, you got to click on Start. Well, I honestly hate the fact that they call it Start. I think they could have come up with a better idea. But I'm going to come down, and again, with the left mouse button, I'm going to click on Start. And because we want a software program, I'm coming up here to where it says All Programs, and then you're going to see something pop up on the screen. In fact, I have a lot of software on my computer, probably way more than you have, but that's okay. To start up Solitaire, what we have to do is we have to come down here to the Start button, and I'm going to click on Start, and what you're going to see on the screen is a number of pieces of software. But I'm going to come up to where it says All Programs, and because Solitaire is a software program, this is a list of all the different types of software programs I have on my computer screen. Now, if you look at this and you feel like, oh my God, what is all that stuff? Well, I got to be honest with you, I do too, because I have so much on this computer because I've been using it a while that I have to look at this and really concentrate. You'll notice that I have everything in alphabetical order. But because Solitaire is a game, I'm going to look in my list for where it says Games. I'm going to come to where it says Games, and another item is going to come out to the right. And you'll notice a lot of these items here have a little black arrow to the right of them. And when you see that black arrow, that means there's more information there. So in other words, you come to an item, and then when you get on that item, another item will pop out to the right, and there could be multiple items. So let me come down to where it says Games. You're going to see a couple things come out to the right. So I'm going to take my pointer, go straight across this blue line, and come over, and then I'm going to go down to where it says Solitaire, and Solitaire has become highlighted in blue. What's very typical when people are getting used to computers is they'll be on Games here, and then they'll go to try to get to Solitaire, but what they'll do is instead of going straight across the blue this way, they'll try to cut down to where it says Solitaire, and then what happens is you actually go on to something else. So again, go back up to Games, go straight across this blue line to get over to this box, and then go down to where it says Solitaire, and click once with your left mouse button. Now what's happening is we're in the process of opening up your first software program. And what we're opening up here is Microsoft's Solitaire. It's a game that comes pre-installed on your computer. If you don't see Solitaire on your computer, then you might need some individual help. In one of the tutorials, we're going to talk to you about different ways we can give you individual help in tutoring, because we have the ability through different pieces of software we use to actually talk to you on the phone and see your computer screen. So it's like we're sitting right there next to you. So we can give you individual tutoring if you need that. You just need to call us and contact us and talk to us about how we work with our individual tutoring. So the first thing I want to draw your attention to is this little box that came up is what is called a window. When you start up your computer, you might see that it says Windows. That is the operating system of your computer. I'm not going to explain that too much right now, but the whole concept behind it is you've opened up a window. This window is opened up on your computer screen. This particular window is the software program called Solitaire. When I look at this, I want you to see these two items right here. You're not going to have that on your computer. These little items right there I want you to ignore. What I do want to draw your attention to is over here, it says Solitaire up on the top left. I'm going to draw your attention over here to the right-hand side where you'll see some different items. You'll see a little minus sign, a square, and an X. What this minus sign means is minimize. So if I want to take whatever I have on my screen and shrink it or hide it, if I click on the minus sign, it takes this window and it makes it disappear. The reality is that if I look down here on the bottom of the screen on what's called the taskbar, and I put my pointer down here, see where it says Solitaire? Well, if I click on this, it's going to bring it back up on the screen. This blue bar right here is called the title bar. And the title bar tells me the name or the title of the software I have open. Right here it says Solitaire. If I take this blue bar and I put my pointer on it and I click and hold, again I'm taking the left mouse button, I'm clicking and holding, I can take this and as I move my pointer around or my mouse, I'm dragging this around the screen. I could drag it off the screen if I wanted to. But I'm just going to move it up a little bit and then I'm going to release. That is called drag and drop. So now, here was the minus sign, that minimizes it. It shrinks it down. This square right here is what's called maximize. When I click on this square, it's going to make this window take up the entire size of my screen. So I'm going to click on the square, and now Solitaire takes up my entire screen. That's called maximize. The opposite of maximize, I'm going to come up to where that little square was, and now you'll see there's two little squares. If I click on these two little squares, now what happens is I'm restoring it down to the original size. So I can make this smaller or bigger as I so desire. If I take my pointer and I put it on either edge, either the top, the right side, left side, or bottom, when I get it right on that blue line, that line between the software and the blue of the screen, I'm going to get a two-headed arrow. When I get that two-headed arrow, if I click and hold, I can drag out or drag in to resize this window. I'm going to drag out a little bit just to make it a little bit wider. Now when I do that, I can just resize this just to make things fit in the screen a little bit better. But frankly, what most of the time you'll be doing is just maximizing what is ever opened and have it take up the whole screen. So that's called maximize. The red box up on the top right hand side closes this software program. So when you're done with Solitaire, you're just going to come up and click on the red square. Now I warn you, if you're in the middle of the game and you close Solitaire, you're going to lose your game. Some software, most software, when you're in the middle of something and you go to close it, you'll be prompted. It will say, hey, wait a minute, you're doing something here. What do you want to do? Do you want to save your work? And we'll show you how to deal with that going forward. But Solitaire, again, teaches you some characteristics of using your mouse and your computer, and it also teaches you a little bit about working with software. So again, we just illustrated these items up here on the far right, and now I want to talk to you a little bit about the game, just so you can understand how that works. We will get into the game in more detail in the next tutorial. I'm going to have a separate tutorial specifically on how to play Solitaire. My name is Tony Holowitz, and I want to thank you very much for being here.